السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم نزل عليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديه وأنزل التوراة والإنجيل من قبل هدى للناس وأنزل الفرقان إن الذين كفروا بآيات الله لهم عذاب شديد والله عزيز ذو انتقام إن الله لا يخفى عليه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء هو الذي يصوركم في الأرحام كيف يشاء لا إله إلا هو العزيز الحكيم هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب منه آيات محكمات هن أم الكتاب وأخر متشابهات فأما الذين في قلوبهم زيغ فيتبعون ما تشابه منه ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويله وما يعلم تأويله إلا الله والراسخون في العلم يقولون آمنا به كل من عند ربنا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد صدق الله العظيم. Praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, peace and blessings be upon His Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, upon his family members, his companions, and the righteous servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala till the end of time. It is indeed a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has given us an opportunity that we have fasted on day 3, and inshallah we are about to break inshallah in about 40 minutes, roughly 40 minutes or less. So again, everything belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To Allah we belong, and to Him we shall return inshallah. So today that I've recited a few ayahs from Surah Al-Imran. Today is day 3, and inshallah and I'll be reading Surah Al-Imran as well tonight. Though I have recited up until ayah number 20. And those of you and all of us, alhamdulillah, have been reading and reciting throughout our life, alhamdulillah, every Ramadan. And you probably know as well that this surah is a Madani surah, revealed in Madinah al-Munawwara. This surah has about 200 ayat in it. So the surah opens up, as we talked about Surah Al-Baqarah yesterday. Our Shaykh, our teacher, he talked about it, that the Surah Al-Baqarah is very, it is the largest and the longest surah of the Quran, which has 286 ayat in it, and it has so many ahkam in it, whether it be ahkam of fasting, ahkam of, or hukum of hajj and umrah, and then about divorce, about weaning of a child, or how long should a child be, suckled or breastfed by her mother, and the time period for a woman when she's divorced, how long does she have to wait before she gets married to another person, and then what is the time limit for a widow if her husband passes away, and then how long does she have to wait then before she get married to another person? All right, so all these ahkam have been mentioned. He also mentioned that some of us have also mentioned that during the time of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he would make sure that the person that he is appointing at any good position or high position, high rank, then he would make sure that the person knows Surah Al-Baqarah, because the rulings are in Surah Al-Baqarah. And the Mufassirin also mentioned that Surah Al-Baqarah was pointed towards the people of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, or Yahud. So it is to give them the guidance, and the entire story of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam is also mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah. Now coming back to the Surah Al Imran, in it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers it to the people of Bani Israel. And the big chunk of it, or most of it, I would say from ayah number 33 to ayah number 120, a lot of it is about the people of Najran, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. So these were the people who came to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. These were the people who wanted to know more about Islam and so on and so forth. So it is a big part of it. So as I said, this entire surah has 200 ayat in it, and tonight inshallah we'll start from ayah number 21, because we read 20 ayahs last night in ayah number 21, and the 21 number ayah starts with the actions of the people of the book when they would kill the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They would kill those people who would act, other people who would give teachings or tell other people to do act of righteousness. يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْقِسْطِ. So they were the people who would tell other people to do justice on earth, but in return what the people would do, when Israel they would not only that they would kill the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, messengers of Allah, but also they would kill the righteous servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that nobody could stand up between them and their power. So this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about how and what qualities should you be looking in your friends. So if they're believers, what are they? If they're non-believers, what are these qualities, and how should we abstain from befriending with those people? Because if they are associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're doing shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're bishops respecting the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how could they be your good friends? Which means that you will be on their path instead of remaining on your path. It will be difficult. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the claim that many people make, that they say that we love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in order to justify your claim, what you need to do is تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. Then you need to obey whom? Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So you pray 5 times a day. Are you really praying 5 times a day? He would give in charity. Do you really give in charity? He would be very nice to his spouses. Alright? Are you good to your spouse or spouses? It would be good to his children. Are you good to your children? It was good to his neighbors. Are you good to your neighbors? So all these attributes and all these qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that he had, alayhi salatu wasalam, had, and then he truly claimed that he loved Allah, and then he obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you say that I'm a Muslim, la ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah, or ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh, are you really true to your claim to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that if you do so, if you love Allah and you love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which means you obey the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you follow the teachings of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, then you will have ajr, and then you have reward in this dunya and reward in the hereafter. And what is it? وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ, that your sins will be forgiven by the will and decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَى Adam, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose out of all the creations to be the first human being on the face of this earth, not only a person or on the face of this earth, but also the first prophet on the face of this earth, Adam wa Nuhan wa ala Ibrahim wa ala Imran. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that I chose this person, I chose this and that, and out of these people I chose Al Imran, family of Imran. Alright, so from this we learn the story of the birth of Sayyidah Maryam alayhi salam, how she was born, what was the dua that was made by her mother. رَبِّ إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لَكَ مَا فِي بَطْنِي مُحَرَّرًا فَتَقَبَّلْ مِنِّي إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Whatever is my belly, whatever is my womb, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give it in your path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from me. Of course, she did not know, she thought that she's going to have a son, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted her daughter, and then after this daughter, that she has to fulfill her vow, and then by fulfilling her vow, she had to give her to the house of worship where the khalu, or the uncle of Maryam alayhi salam, he used to work. Alright, وَإِنِّي سَمَّيْتُهَا Maryam, and I give her the name of Maryam. So mother her, give her the name as well. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about Sayyidina Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam and dua that he made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. رَبِّ هَبْ لِي مِن لَدُنْكَ ذُرِّيَّةً طَيِّبَةً إِنَّكَ سَمِيعُ الدُّعَاء. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant me a pious son, ذُرِّيَّةً طَيِّبَةً, a good one, طَيِّبَةً إِنَّكَ سَمِيعُ الدُّعَاء. Indeed, O Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are the one who listens to du'as and you are the one who responds to du'as. So Sayyidina Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam made this dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him his dua by giving him Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salatu wasalam by saying, فنادت الملائكة وهو قائم يصلي في المحراب أن الله يبشرك بيحيى مصدقا بكلمة من الله وسيدا وحسورا ونبيا من الصالحين. So this ayah talks about the qualities of Sayyidina Yahya alayhi salatu wasalam. Who is he going to be? So all the detail is mentioned in these few ayah. And the signs of Sayyidina Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam, he asked Allah, what should I be doing? And he was told to fast for 3 days. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned again Sayyidina Maryam alayhi salam, that who she was and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose her amongst all the women on the face of this earth. And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned about 4 women. Inshallah, we don't have enough time to talk about all the detail, but inshallah, because I said it's going to be a gist of it, we'll just touch and go, inshallah. So Sayyidina Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam is mentioned in this ruku. This is ruku number 5. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the way she was obedient to Allah. So she was told also that these are the things that you should be doing. Alright, you should be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Warka'i, do sujood, wasjudi, and then sujood in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then all these ibadat is told to her that she be doing. And then she was doing these a'mal and deeds, and that's why she was chosen by the will and decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be the mother of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. So in next few ayahs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent angels to Sayyidina Maryam alayhi salam, and then she was given the glad tidings of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. And when she heard, when the angels came and gave her the glad tidings, يا مريم إن الله يبشرك بكلمة منه اسمه المسيح عيسى ابن مريم وجيها في الدنيا والآخرة ومن المقربين. And she's been given the glad tidings by the will and decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you're going to have a son and his name is going to be Isa. Alright, وجيها في الدنيا والآخرة, he will be loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will be friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the face of this dunya, right? وَمِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ, he's of those who are very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the entire story of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam is mentioned. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the miracles that were given to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, the ability to give life to a bird, the ability to give a life to a dead person, someone who's going through an illness and sickness, and he would touch that person, he would be cured. So all of these were what? Were the miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He granted to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. And then there's a lot of other stuff that is happening. His companions are also mentioned. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about how He raised up Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. إني متوفيك ورافعك إلي ومطهرك من الذين كفروا وجاعل الذين اتبعوك فوق الذين كفروا إلى يوم القيامة. That how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uplifted Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, and till the day of judgment, people will come from his progeny, from his family, or those who follow his religion. They will rule till the day of judgment. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the comparison of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam and Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, because people started worshipping Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to make sure and wanted to clarify that it's not difficult for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to create someone who has no mother and no father. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to create someone, then He can create someone from mother only, or from female only, without having that she has to be married to someone, or have an interaction with an opposite gender, with a male. So without a male, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can grant a child to anyone. That is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So إِنَّ مَثَلَ عِيسَى عِنْدَ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ آدَمَ خَلَقَهُ مِنْ تُرَابٍ ثُمَّ قَالَ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونُ. So now, that's how I created Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. Allah saying that I created from dirt, I created Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. So it's not difficult for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to create Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. Then the next ayah talks about the mubahila, the argument or the challenge that was given by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the people of the book. Alright, that if you are really truthful and then really truly believe that you have a God and you worship whoever you worship, and I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He brought His family members, He asked them to bring their family members, and then of course they did not come to challenge Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. They withdrew basically. they went back. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَا لَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. So the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon those who are liars, meaning that they associate and ascribe partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or they say that Allah has son, or Allah has daughters, or Allah has this, or Allah has that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. No mother, no father, no brother, no sister, no wife, no children. There's nothing like that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning or telling the believers that you should call the people of the book towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah na'budu illallah wa la nushriku bihi shay'a wa la yattakhidhu ba'duna ba'dan arbaban min dunillah fa in tawallaw faqulu ashhadu bi anna muslimun. So it's a very long ayah, and of course it is used as it's like an interfaith. All right. So even today, this is the ayah that is very well recited in many of the incidents and many of the events that we read and recite this ayah to the people of the book. Because they believe in Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, they believe in Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, they believe in Torah, they believe in Injil. Alright, so we believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as being the final messenger, and all the messengers who came before, and all the prophets who came before, 124,000 roughly messengers who came. So we believe in all of them, but they're the people who believe only in Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and Zabur, and Torah, so Yahud and Nasara. So these are the two types of people and people of the book that we've mentioned and we talk to and we engage with in interfaith. And of course nowadays it's a very multicultural society that we live in, and there are many more religions that we sit with and we talk to. And this is the common line, or the bottom line, that we interact with these people. And the claim of the Yahud that Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was a Jew or a Yahudi, and then the claim of the Christians, Nasara, that they would say that Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was a Christian. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَا كَانَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ يَهُودِيًّا وَلَا نَصْرَانِيًّا وَلَكِنْ كَانَ حَنِيفًا مُسْلِمًا. He was neither a Christian nor was he a Jew. So he was neither one of those. All right, he was not a Christian, he was not a Jew, but he was what? He was Hanifa Muslim. He was a purely monotheist who truly believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as being his creator. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala negating their claim, and then he was a true Muslim, because we the Muslims who believe, of course, that he's Jaddul Anbiya, he's the prophet, he's the grandfather of all the prophets. All right, Ishaq, and on the other side is Ismail. So from both their progeny, his progeny is going down, and then from Sayyidina Ismail is Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Sayyidina Ishaq is Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us this guideline. And next few ayahs, again, it's about the people of the book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about them. And then finally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Juz 3, we are towards the end of it, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes the oath from all the prophets. Alright? وَإِذَا خَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ النَّبِيِّينَ لَمَا آتَيْتُكُم مِّن كِتَابٍ وَحِكْمَةٍ ثُمَّ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ عِندِ اللَّهِ مُصَدِّقٌ لِمَا مَعَكُمْ لَتُؤْمِنُنَّ بِهِ وَلَتَنصُرُنَّهُ. What if this messenger, what if this prophet comes to you? Would you believe in that prophet? Would you help that prophet, all right, in spreading his message? لَتُؤْمِنُنَّ بِهِ وَلَتَنصُرُنَّهُ قَالَ أَقْرَرْتُمْ, and then they قَالُوا أَقْرَرْنَا قَالَ فَاشْهَدُوا وَأَنَا مَعَكُمْ مِنَ الشَّاهِدِينَ. Of course, all the prophets say, yes, indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is our oath with you, that if you find him in our lifetimes, we'll believe in him and we help and we support. So this is the oath that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took from all the prophets. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that any other religion will not be accepted other than total submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, total submission, total obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and following his messenger. So Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, so on the day of judgment, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. So anyone who comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment other than Islam as his or her religion, it will not be accepted from him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And the person is going to be of those who are losers. They will be in khasara, or they will lose. Like nowadays, the stock market is in crash. So if you had put a lot of money, $1,000, if not $1,000, $100,000 or $1 million, so you definitely have lost it. And now is the time that people are buying stocks. All right, now is the time that we renew our iman, renew our faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So this is the month of Ramadan. That's when you buy everything. Like now you're buying stock. Now you're buying your iman back. You're refreshing and rejuvenating your iman. So this is what, if you want to be profitable and you want your investments to be profitable in this dunya, and you really have to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obey His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So this ayah ends, this is just number 3, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, tell these people, Amanna billah, I believe, we believe, the believers we believe, we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what has been revealed upon Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, Musa wa Isa, Ibrahim wa Ismail wa Ishaq wa Yaqub wa al-Asbab wa ma uti Musa wa Isa. So whatever has been revealed upon all these prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we the Muslims, we truly believe in the teachings of those prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. It's an exam, it's a test for all of us that we have given bounties and the blessings of this dunya. How often do we spend what we really love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There are numerous Sahaba, of course, they did what they did, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's why Allah gave them the title, رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them, but for me, for you, for all of us, when our car breaks down, we give it to masjid. When our Quran is torn out, and the books are torn out or left at home for like 2 years, 3 years, and 5 years, and that's when we give it to masjid. Or anything else, the fan is broken, or the AC that's not working, or it's old, we give it to masjid. Or our computer is old, we give it to masjid. So where is that? لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, that you give what you love the most to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We love money, we love cars, we love houses, we love our family members, alhamdulillah. So we should give something that is good for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about first house of worship, إِنَّ أَوَّلَ بَيْتٍ وُضِعَ لِلنَّاسِ لَلَّذِي بِبَكَّةَ مُبَارَكًا وَهُدًى لِلْعَالَمِينَ. The first house of worship that was built by by angels that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent when Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, and then Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam rebuilt it, reconstructed. And many times in history, according to the history of Saudi, they mention in there's a book, story of Makkah, and it talks about the history of Makkah, and then it says it's about 15 times throughout the history that Kaaba itself has been reconstructed. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the believers. Or there were Muhajirin, there were Ansar, so those who migrated from Makkah to Medina. Of course, even in Medina, people who have not accepted Islam, and they were enemies of one another before because of the tribes, because of the religion, Aus and Khazraj, and numerous other tribes of Bani Israel and Yahud and Nasara. So they were there, but before that they were enemies of one another. But after accepting Islam, they became brother of one another. So is this that all of us have to do the same thing? You'll probably be from different parts of the world. Somebody's from India, other from Pakistan, Middle East, Europe, from different parts of the world. So what we have to do is become true Muslims, not fight over nationalities. Alright, so we are Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we are true Muslims. Language should not be a problem for us. Color should not be a problem for us. Inna Allah la yanzuru ila suwarikum wa la ila a'malikum wa la yanzuru ila qulub. Inna Allah la yanzuru ila suwarikum wa la ila alwanikum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at the physical color of a person, alright? And does not look at the tongue, the person, language speaking, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at the qulubikum wa a'malikum, looks at your a'mal and your heart. So this is what we have to do. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ummatan yad'una ilal khayr. You are the people that you should be calling other people towards righteousness, towards goodness. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about these are the responsibilities. Do you want your face to be bright on the day of judgment or no? يَوْمَ تَبْيَضُّ وُجُوهُ وَتَسْوَدُّ وُجُوهُ. Two types of people will be gathered and resurrected on the day of judgment. One will have bright face, the other one will have dark face. So the believer is he whose face will be radiant, will be shining. And the person who is not successful on that day is the person whose face will be dark on the day of judgment. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ ابْيَضَّتْ وُجُوهُهُمْ فَفِي رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. So they are the people whose faces will be radiant, the nur will come out of, will shine on their face. Of course, they are the people who will earn or receive the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the job of this ummah. كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ. So this ummah, the importance and the greatness of this ummah is also mentioned in this surah, Surah Al-Imran. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about some of the people of the book, that not all of them are bad, not all of them are good. Like not all of our Muslim brothers are good, not all of them are bad. Alright, so they're good, there's bad. In any community, in any society, there are good apples and there are bad apples, good sheep, bad sheep, alright? So all of this is happening in any community, any society. Of them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ أُمَّةٌ قَائِمَةٌ يَتْلُونَ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ وَهُمْ يُسْجُدُونَ. They were the people, they used to recite the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, used to stand up in the night, they used to be sujood in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. They believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing in the last day of judgment, commanding other people to do acts of righteousness, forbidding them to do acts of disobedience, وَيُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْخَيْرِ, and then doing acts of righteousness. So all of these, أُولَٰئِكَ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ, they are those who are truly righteous servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the thing is, end of the day, what matters, one who truly believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and truly believes in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as being the final messenger. Alright? So once Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam declared his prophethood, then everybody has to believe in him as being the final messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about incidents of the Battle of Badr and Battle of Uhud. As I said earlier, about 100 from ayah number 33 through 120 is about the Najran, the people of Najran, and majority of this surah is about, from now on, is about the Battle of Badr and Battle of Uhud. And mostly is about Battle of Uhud, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his help during the Battle of Badr, because the people were less, but again, they were true, their iman was unshakable. They were not hypocrites, they were not munafiq, they were not mushrik. All these these characteristics were not there. They truly believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and truly believed in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So because of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down his help to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and angels came and they helped. Now the second incident that is mentioned in the surah, and after this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تأكلوا الربا أضعافا مضاعفة واتقوا الله لعلكم تفلحون. So of course, those who want to be successful in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this dunya and hereafter, they must avoid dealing in interest. So this is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then those who do not refrain from it, وَاتَّقُوا النَّارِ الَّتِي أُعِدَّتْ لِلْكَافِرِينَ. For those who do not obey the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for them Jahannam is prepared by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ. And those who come towards this glory and seek the glory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to forgive them. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam during the Battle of Uhud. What if the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala passes away? Would you turn away from the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Of course not. Many prophets came before, many Rusul, messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came before Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So they all died. Does it mean that people go back to their own deen or the deen of their forefathers? Of course not. They will believe in whoever the prophet was there, whoever the messenger was there at that period of time. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about how people taunted Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam and taunted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَقَدْ سَمِعَ اللَّهُ قَوْلَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ فَقِيرٌ وَنَحْنُ أَغْنِيَاءُ. That your Lord is poor and our Lord is rich. And Sayyidina Sadiq radiallahu anhu, he slapped a person who was making fun of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So this is also mentioned when people were trying to scare Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, trying to scare the believers. Alright? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it, حَسْبُنَ اللَّهُ وَنِعْمَ الْوَكِيلُ. Believers are those who put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they seek, constantly seeking the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And very lastly, inshallah, the mention of those people who truly believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. The true believers are those who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And last ayah of the surah is يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اصْبِرُوا وَصَابِرُوا. To the believers, be patient and be more patient. وَرَابِطُوا, of course, don't give up. And then وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with those who truly believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and put themselves, rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us all, shower His mercy upon all of us. It's time, almost time to break our fast, inshallah. So let us make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our fast. ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. أفطر عندكم الصائمون وأكل طعامكم الأبرار وصلت عليكم الملائكة. اللهم لا تدع لنا ولا للمسلمين ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا كربا إلا نفسته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا ميتا إلا رحمته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة إلا قضيتها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وأنت المستعان وعليك البلاغ، ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم، وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.